Yes, good evening all. It is.
I like that. Brilliant start.
Welcome to our third podcast for this week.
Oh, this is actually Bound for Glory. I
Bound
think we
for
said
Glory?
that, yeah.
Yes, and a special shortened version of Bound for Glory.
Yeah, because we're a little bit... there's booking issues and such, so
Yes.
this will be a shorter show, about 1 hour.
Yes.
So it'll be more than convenient if your listening needs.
Yes, which are quite demanding. Stop
All
asking
you
so much
people
of us.
just want so much.
Yeah.
God.
Stop
What do we
being-
have on the show?
Stop being
lined
so
up today?
entitled. Well, we
We're
are...
going to yell at each other for the first 10 minutes,
Yes.
and we're going to talk about how crap Melbourne are.
Oh, they're terrible.
Post that, we're going to hear from young Premiership star from the Cats, Mitch Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
What else have we got? Far away.
We'll have a look at the games coming up this weekend.
Yes, that
I
as
believe
well.
we will.
Richmond to beat Collingwood this week, yes.
It's a big
Keep
call.
dreaming.
Big call.
No chance.
Multiple fights at the game.
Yes. All
Huge
started
amounts
by
of
Jake
them.
King. He'll jump into the crowd to start a fight.
How many push-ups was it that he did
Oh,
consecutively?
At least 300.
Yeah, that's sad. If you have enough time to do that many
Sadly
push-ups,
amazing.
if you have enough time to do that many push-ups, you should be actually a decent footballer.
Well, he's gotten better.
No, he hasn't.
Better.
No.
From the point that he was at.
Well,
Come on.
Yeah, well,
Thank
fine.
you.
I'll give in to that. There are a lot of people in this room right
Yes.
now. This is daunting.
You're breaking the fourth wall.
I'll nail it back up. So what happened last night? Was it last night or was it Thursday?
Thursday
night.
night.
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot we don't play football on Good Friday because we're backwards.
Yeah. Well, is it North Melbourne that's always asking, let us play Good Friday?
We actually train on Good Fridays. We train and have done for the past 2 years. 2 years we train on Good Fridays. So just another thing that we're pioneering as the pioneers of football.
Richmond and
Friday night
Collingwood trained
football, which was
yesterday as well.
subsequently stolen from us. We did it first though.
Oh,
But there was a game on Thursday night, and it was Brisbane versus Carlton.
terrible,
And
terrible game.
I didn't watch it because I was having a social life. But for someone who did watch it, what happened? Anybody?
Well, I have no social life, so...
You didn't watch it either?
No, I did. Yeah, I shouldn't have. I should have been...
Carlton smashed them, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, they
in
did.
Simple
Yeah.
words.
What we're trying to get at is that Carlton won, I think.
Yes.
And Eddie Betts took 2 Mark of the Year contenders.
Yes.
And I think...
They had a big spread of goal kickers, I think. 16,
Nah.
17
Yeah.
almost.
Murphy, such a gun.
Is he better than Judd now?
Yes.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Just no discussion? Yes, that's it. Okay, move on,
Yeah.
everybody. Next
I'm the
topic.
king of one-word answers.
Yeah,
know
you
this
are.
thing. And Scotland is a seagulling junk-type king.
I think he's very underrated.
Yeah,
Underrated.
underrated.
So Murphy is better than Judd now.
Yes.
He's number 1 midfielder,
Yes.
Carlton. First
Does
person,
he get is he the first person tagged?
first person tag every week. You tag every week.
No, but
You would still tag Judd first?
yes.
Why?
So Judd's better.
Why would you
Well, I
tag
don't
Judd
know.
over Murphy?
Well, I'm not a coach, so I have no.
Do your best impression of one then.
If I could do a Terry Wallace voice. It would be...
Yes, do a Terry Wallace
I
voice.
can't. I don't have
Oh,
the.
yeah.
I haven't smoked for 50 years.
We'll give you 5 years to come up with something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that's nice. I like that.
And then Mitch Morton. Can
Special
cut
shout
my
out to
job.
11:11 a.m. Make a wish.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Move on, everybody.
Oh, well, it's been a pretty crappy sort of week with Melbourne and whatnot happening.
No, before we get there, let's just discuss what happened last week, shall we?
What, getting smacked by Brisbane,
Yeah.
and then Brisbane.
No,
got
I mean
smacked.
last week is in round 1.
Oh,
Round 1.
that's
Yeah,
what,
round
that's
one.
what
I'm
happened.
talking
round
about.
one.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we go right ahead. Go on.
Thank you
Fire
for
away.
your permission.
You're welcome.
So yeah, Brisbane smacked Melbourne round 1 because of the. Well, not because of the. After the whole, Jim Steins Memorial, which was very good, by the way.
Brilliant service.
But yeah, if Melbourne can't fire up for that, then they're absolutely pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
And Neeld has done what he said he would, which is not take the same 22 over.
And we like Mark Neeld here. We
Yes.
do. If you're listening, come on the show. But I think he's the right person to take Melbourne into the future. He's going to take a lot of time to implement the game plan that he wants to have his players play. But I think at the same time, not being a boys' club and not picking the 22 based on previous acts and making them earn their spots is the right way to go about setting a football club up for the future.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it in very
a little
soon.
bit more detail, yeah, very quickly.
I do think he's the right sort of coach that Melbourne need, but not. There's something off about him that I don't think will work with Melbourne. I think they're too.
You
soft.
think he's too hard of a human
Yes.
being for Melbourne?
Yes.
Yeah.
They seem like I don't know. They wouldn't really listen to him if he keeps going the way he is.
So they just sort of bury their heads in the no, I don't, no.
Yes.
Fetal position in
Yeah.
the corner.
Yeah. No, Mr. Neeld, too, man.
We call that the Kale Morton syndrome.
Yes, we do. Shout out to Dukes. Sup.
So, let's get underway then.
Yes,
So,
we shall.
we will be talking about the Melbourne controversy. So,
Really just had the week from hell, to be honest with
Oh
you.
yeah, well they've had a year from hell, really. I mean,
Existence from hell.
well they always seem to float under the radar with what happens with them in the football world and the media, and that's because no one really cares about them. They're a small club. They're filled with a few rich people.
They are
Afloat.
they are the league's oldest club.
Yes.
However.
Well, that doesn't do them much good, does it?
No.
And yeah, they've been pretty.
Can't be making changes from the retirement home.
That's true. And Mount Buller would have all of its reservations not filled if
Exactly.
not for Melbourne. So
Downhill skiers.
yes, and they've only won 4 games since round 5 of last year, which is
Pretty damning statistic.
yes. They were thrashed by Geelong in round 19 of 2011 by a record of the modern era of 186 points. And as a result, Dean Bailey was sacked, which, I didn't think got enough coverage because, he clearly tanked, even though, there were, what's the word? Conflicting reports. But, it was quite obvious to everyone else.
Yeah.
And yeah, the fact that I was at a few of these games where the supporters actually cheered them losing because it meant they would get draft picks, and that losing culture.
Were you at the game where Jordan McMahon
I was at that game.
kicked the now infamous goal after the siren, and you couldn't actually tell who was celebrating more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Disgusting.
pretty pathetic.
Culture.
Yeah. Culture. And then they'll just lose. Like, that's their culture, the losing culture. And, it seems to have permeated throughout the club. Tom Scully was reportedly wanting to leave due to unprofessionalism. I think they went on a footy trip in Thailand or something.
I mean,
Bali, yeah.
well, it probably means why Scully left for Western Sydney, because he's used to a losing culture, so he can slot right in. It'll be fantastic.
Well, at least Western Sydney have, a lot of good youngsters that seem to want to play and put in and
they'll have a winning culture developed over there.
Eventually,
time,
yeah. It'll take a while, but
I
they'll
think
get there.
they've done it the right way. Young players really do need older players to learn from. And
Role models and such.
Yeah, and that's what Luke Power, Chad Corns, Dean Brogan, that sort of thing. It's the right way to go. But Melbourne really don't have anyone to learn from. I mean, Brett Maloney was stripped of the vice captaincy after being evicted from a nightclub due to drunkenness, and that was a night before a match. So that's not really a good role model. Colin Sylvia is well known for his off-field antics. Aaron Davey on the field, off the field, he's quite a good ambassador.
On the field, it's just
soft
butter.
as butter.
Oh my
soft
God.
as butter.
Which is amazing, because a few years ago, you'd probably say the reverse. So not sure what's happened with him.
Yeah, no, it's like he was supposed to be wanting to get traded to Essendon, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, let's go get him." And then he signed a 4-year deal with Melbourne, and ever since, he's just done nothing.
butter.
Yeah. What else?
They've not really had a terrific history with Indigenous players.
Well, Austin Wanamiri left the club most recently. Liam Jara was charged with assault with a deadly weapon, with a machete. Yeah, and lots of things that have happened. Brad Green was the first captain as a sub under the new rule, which must have been pretty embarrassing for him.
That is embarrassing.
And with the performance last week against Brisbane, I can understand if they weren't good enough, and it's understandable they had Sylvia out and players out of form, didn't have the best pre-season, but they didn't even try. Like, Magna tried. That's about it.
And Brisbane had a fair few players out
That's
too.
true.
They had got Jonathan Brown.
Yeah.
Like,
And Brisbane made Melbourne look the Bush League.
Yeah, it was.
And then, I shudder to think what Carlton would do to Melbourne after what Carlton did to Brisbane.
What would that be? Cumulative 140 points or something like that?
Yeah, unfortunately, it never works that way.
But and with the whole jumper sponsor, so Melbourne at the start of the year only had one jumper sponsor, and they were all saying, "Oh no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's a huge sponsor, $2 million a year. Everything will be fine. We'll eventually get one, and it'll all be good." And now, due to Ben Polis, the CEO or former CEO of Energy Watch, making racist and hateful comments, they have no sponsor.
I think they're officially going into their game against West Coast with no jumper sponsor whatsoever.
Empty jumper.
Now, apparently a few companies have expressed interest, so things are looking a bit bright for Melbourne at the moment.
Oh, I wouldn't say looking bright, but not looking...
Brighter than they were last
Looking
week.
quite so dull.
Yeah. So, apparently they're not going to cut spending on the football department, so they're going to need to come up with that money somewhere, or they're going to go back into debt, which would be a terrible thing since that was really Jim Stein's project, which was to get them out of debt, which he did, very successful, and it would be a disgrace for all his hard work to be undone in 1 year. And Dan Nicholson, another youngster, rookie last year, I'm not sure if he's been elevated or not, but he was suspended from the club for drinking whilst in rehab, so more good news for them. And just my opinion of Gary Lyon in the media, I think he makes a lot of bold statements, but he doesn't do anything to back them up. He always seems to shy away from taking any sort of official role, and he's not going to.
For the moment, though, I think you could probably excuse him from not taking an active role. He has just lost probably one of his best mates and someone he played with for a long time. So it's not inconceivable to think that he's probably still mourning.
I can understand that, but even like halfway through last year,
I understand that. Like
with
last
Dean
year,
Bailey and all that sort of thing, he was being
It's time
asked
for
on
him to either stay out of Melbourne, the entire Melbourne Football Club, or come in an official capacity.
piss or get off the pot.
Yes. And just speaking about Mark Neeld before, he's the type of coach that I think the Dees need, but he seems to be like the type of player that you would hate and not want to play for.
Coach, not player.
Coach you would want to play for, and you wouldn't really respect him. And from the body language that I've seen, even from their captain, Jack Trengove, he seems scared or just doesn't like him, and that's not really the sort of culture you want.
Could it be a difference in standards, like in terms of training? Because obviously coming from a side that won a premiership, then made a grand final, to go to a team that probably isn't used to the standards or whatever of the, obviously, endurance, because obviously they already had a place, like Collingwood had something set in place before Neeld got there, and there's this sort of a very high, strict thing they do, where come to Melbourne, it's a bit more relaxed, and all of a sudden it's a wake-up call, and everyone's going, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, apparently with Dean Bailey there, he was like a friend to the players, like too much of a friend. Didn't really, push them hard enough, but
and that's where you need the balance between a coach who's going to be a friend and a coach who's going to be a hard ass.
Yeah,
you need the balance of both, because you can't be one all the time. It doesn't work like that.
No, that's sorry to deviate to Richmond again, but that's why I like Damien Hardwick, because he seems to, he invites players to bring their family to the club. He seems like a friendly guy, but he knows to when he needs to get pissed pretty much and lay down the line.
Just to expand a little bit on the Energy Watch, which is sort of the scandal that's over the last couple of days has really taken over Melbourne. If you don't know, and you probably should if you live in Melbourne, you should probably have read the papers by now. It's been everywhere. But the CEO of the company pretty much was revealed to have had a go at just about every conceivable race, gender, and age he could reach over a publicly accessible Facebook. He went after Muslims, the Jewish, elderly, Asian drivers, females, Aboriginals, including a footballer from the club that his company sponsors, which is just not very clever at all. And also the public school educated, which is a lot of people in Melbourne. And he did all this from a publicly accessible Facebook account, which it's just stupid, really. It's just dumb.
Doesn't he? They used to sponsor the Victory. Didn't he also say that he hates soccer?
He does. Well? He said he hated soccer and would consider changing to Melbourne Heart over a publicly accessible Facebook account. After and his company sponsors the Heart's main rival. They gave Energy Watch gave Melbourne around $2 million a year. This is gone. Melbourne, the Demons, the Rebels, and the Victory have all terminated their agreements based on his comments. He's quit the position as CEO. He's been replaced by his second in command. And I mean, all the major power brokers from Melbourne sports clubs, like the Melbourne's board, called the comments abhorrent. The Rebels chairman Harold Mitchell was investigating how long it would take to remove the logo from the Rebels jumpers. I think did the Rebels wear them against the Blues the other night? Did they have Energy Watch on their jumpers?
No.
Anybody?
No.
So it was removed. That was quick. Melbourne Victory branded his comments unacceptable and terminated their agreement. A couple of energy companies tore up their contracts with Energy Watch and labelled the comments deeply offensive, reckless and concerning. I mean, just in case Polis wasn't finished, he went after Jules. He went after Jules, who shrugged off his comments as nasty and refused to make further comment, which is very classy. She's a classy lady. Love you, Julia. Come on the show. It's pretty well documented that Polis has ADHD, attention deficit disorder, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, is it?
Yep.
And I suppose you could argue that the comments were maybe a result of this condition. It doesn't excuse the comments at all, because his company sponsors him. His company sponsors these clubs, and he has an obligation to treat them with respect or professional courtesy. And his successor that's taken over his spot recently has said that he's concerned about Polis's health. Polis himself is the author of a book titled "Only a Mother Could Love Him: My Triumph Over ADHD." And it would appear after this incident that he hasn't actually triumphed over ADHD at all. In fact, he's letting it take over his life.
Well, to build up to CEO, obviously he must have been media trained. You would not obviously have that kind of thing.
He's the co-owner of the company though, so he did found it. So
yeah, but you would still have some kind of media training at some point.
Yeah.
So you think you would know.
You would think,
most people
maybe
know,
just got on the piss one night and sort of.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's still, you should be smarter than to put comments about, everyone, every person that is important in Melbourne or even in Australia, football clubs, clubs that you sponsor. You should be smarter than to put derogatory stuff about them on Facebook. It just you don't do that, no matter how drunk you are, no matter how much ADHD you have. It just doesn't work like that. Do you guys think he's done the right thing in stepping down from his position?
Oh, if he didn't step down, he would get fired by the other, or voted out by the board or whatever.
True.
So, yeah.
I think as the co-founder though, he's got a vested interest. So for his company to succeed, he needed to jump basically.
True.
So,
what do you think? Do you think anything can be done to salvage Energy Watch?
Nope.
You think they're done?
Yeah,
No, I think they're done.
Finito.
Yeah, not much. They're gonna have to really go nuts with charity or go absolutely berserk with everything.
And finally, how do you rate the response from the Demons to this sort of thing?
spot on.
Yeah. Do you think dumping? Well, obviously dumping the company is the right move, but I mean, I suppose we'll see today whether or not it affects them too greatly.
I mean, to be honest, they need the money, obviously, so maybe they should ask for some sort of compensation because they're linked.
Defamatory compensation.
Yeah, I mean, they're linked to it, and it sort of damages their brand to be associated with it.
It does.
It shouldn't affect the on-field performance. It'll only be the off-field, you would think. The players shouldn't be going, oh, no, we lost our sponsor.
That's true.
We're going to play like crap.
Well, they'll do it anyway, so it's fine.
As an end note, there is a massive billboard of Ben Polis. If you come into Melbourne City on public transport from the western suburbs, you can see him in his jocks. They're huge.
Thankfully... wait, what? What's
the billboard is huge. It's big, all right. It's a billboard.
Thankfully, I live in the eastern suburbs, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How dumb is he? Seriously, why would you do that?
He's pretty dumb.
All right, we're gonna cut to some messages from Sin, and we'll be back after this.
Act 1. Darkness. Silence. Dim light up on the square. In the spotlight stands Alan Strang, a lean boy of 17, in sweater and jeans. In front of him, the horse Nugget.
Wow, what are you reading from?
Oh, this is Equus by Peter Schaefer. It's such a great play. Listen to this bit. The flame of a cigarette lighter jumps in the dark.
Oh, that's very powerful, but maybe you should save the rest for our new segment.
Ah, right. Almost forgot about that. Hi everyone, I'm Prithvi.
And I'm Florence. If you're passionate about theatre, like Prithvi and I, then check out our new segment called Auditorium during Arts Mitten on Sundays from 3 to 4 p.m, where we'll be putting on our favourite selection of classic and modern plays.
And most importantly, we want to unearth new writers on our show. So if you've written a play, monologue or skit that you want to get on air, then please send us your piece to auditorium.sin@gmail.com, and that's spelled auditorium.sin@gmail.com. Submissions for the first play reading close on the 31st of July, so send us your work by then.
Experts say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
And they wear lab coats, so I trust them.
So why not start it with a bowl of Sins Get cereal?
With our fibresome hosts, crunchy comedy,
Vitamin-rich interviews,
Packed especially with vitamins C, L, and M. That's Charles and Millie.
that's too far.
Sins Get Cereal with Charles, Luke, and Millie. 6 to 9 weekdays.
Welcome back. That was interesting.
Yes. So now we're going to go to an interview with Mitch Duncan. I believe he talks about what it's like moving over from WA, the Premiership last year.
A super player, really.
Yes.
He's a terrific footballer.
Yeah. It's the first sub in the grand final ever.
Very underrated.
Yeah.
He's still young. He'll get his chance.
Yeah, no, he's quality. So
we've
we'll
got that
head
down,
off.
do we? Yep.
We'll head off to the interview. So enjoy.
Tough game on the weekend. What has Scotty said to you boys so far?
Well, obviously, he was pretty disappointed with our discipline, or how undisciplined we were. It probably let us down. At times, we probably gave them 4 or 5 goals in just from being undisciplined, and obviously we only lost by 4 points, which really hurt us. And that's pretty much it. We gave them 5-goal head start as well, so it was pretty disappointing at the start. So we've definitely got things to work on, but other than that, we started to play some good footy towards the end, in the second half of the game.
I mean, you guys won the flag last year. You know, you face the Hawks this week. Are you concerned at the fact that, you know, you've got some players injured, some facing the match review panel later tonight? Is there any concern yet?
No, not at all. We've got a lot of depth in this. Well, we think that anyway, and we've got a lot of young kids coming through and really good footy. So we're not worried at all. And it's only the start of the season. There's still a lot of footy left for the year, and I guess it's not going to impact on our season too much. Being round 1 and round 2.
Speaking of your depth, a lot of new players in the side. I mean, last year you, Alan Christensen, Daniel Menzel, Nathan Vardy all made a big impact. Who do you see coming through this year that's going to make a big impact to your squad?
Well, we've seen a couple from round 1, Billy Smets and Cam Dustin.
Yeah.
I think they're going to play a lot of footy this year. Maybe someone like George Holland-Smith. Got best on in the 2s on the weekend, so he's put in a good performance and hasn't done his chances any harm this week. So,
what about Steve Motlop? He looks to have a lot of silky skills. Seems a bit like Stevie J and Daniel Menzel. What does he fit into the side?
Yeah, just his pace and his flair. Like all of those Indigenous boys, they just bring so much excitement to the game and to our team. Like he does the team things well, and then he's got his own little individual brilliance as well. So he definitely adds a different spark up forward or on the wing. So it's good. We've got him in the team.
Daniel, you've been at the club, not very long, but the rivalry with the Hawks, is it one out of respect or is it one out of sort of angst, the rivalry?
I think more for the older players losing that grand final there, it's just more about the discipline that they remember on that day, and just really don't like losing to the Hawks anymore. And for us young kids, we're just trying to embrace that the winning culture and not liking to lose, whether it be Hawthorn or anyone. So I think for the older guys, it all comes down to that grand final. It belongs to them.
So one of those older guys was Brad Ottens, who's obviously retired now. How do you feel that Oren Stephenson and Trent West will go this year, trying to fill his void?
Yeah, obviously they're big shoes to fill. Seeing round 1 that those 2 boys put up a good fight against Man Mountain, Sandlands. So we're very confident in what they can deliver to the team, and hope they can get their hands on the ball first for the midfield and get the ball going forward.
Obviously, last year you became a Premiership player. How much do you think that that one day changed your entire life?
That one, yeah. At the moment, it is still pretty surreal and kind of just felt it was like another game, which kind of one, and was lucky enough to be part of something special, like winning a grand final.
When Pods was subbed off, what exactly was going through your head?
I was kind of happy in a way, like getting on the ground, but in another way I was disappointed for Pods. Thought it was going to be tough for us to win now, knowing that we were down big key forward, and we kind of had to change our game plan, and Hawk stood up really well in the heat of the moment, which was fantastic for the club and was really special.
Obviously, Tom Hawkins probably played his best game ever for the club. Do you see him becoming a massive threat this year, being able to kick something like 40 to 50 goals?
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be one of our key focuses up there, and he's definitely got the ability to kick a big bag, whether it be 1 week or another week. So, hopefully it was the making of him, and he doesn't look back from here.
Mitch, a lot of people this year, they've written you off again. Is that ever discussed? Is that ever used as motivation?
I guess it is in a little way. Like, it's good being the underdog and not having that, I guess, pressure. Obviously, there's a little bit of pressure being the reigning premiers, but no, we don't really look into that external stuff at all. We just focus on having in our four walls, and we just go from there and use our own motivation to succeed.
How big has Scotty's influence been over the club?
He was great when he first come to the club. Bringing that fresh side to the club, and obviously there hadn't been much change for the 10 years before that with Bomber and things like that. So it definitely brought a fresh feeling to the club. The older players knew that they had to start from scratch. Would have made them perform a lot better. And the young kids, Scotty's very good at communicating with them, and he gets the best out of them. Knows what we all know what we have to do to play in the AFL side. He said he's going to give us games, but he's not just going to hand them to us. We definitely have to earn them. So every player's back at that scratch stage, and still trying to win their spot in the team.
Mitch, what was the transition like coming from WA? Was it difficult?
It gets made a lot easier. From the people at the club, obviously you have your host families, which are very, very important. I live with Darren and Enzo Raimondo, and they, I don't think I'd be the same person I am today if it wasn't for them, really. They were awesome. I think it makes the transition a lot smoother coming to an AFL club and with all their support and resources.
I saw a lot of your games for WA in the National Championships. You seem to be able to get about 20 possessions a game and kick a couple goals. Where do you see yourself? What do you reckon your best position is?
At the moment, we've got a very good midfield, and hopefully one day I can get in there and really stamp my authority on the game and cement that midfield position. But at the moment, I'm very happy with my role at the moment, playing on the wing and up forward. I'm happy to play anywhere as long as I'm playing in the AFL and learning and developing my game, really.
And that was Mitch Duncan, and we're back on to Bound for Glory. What we're going to discuss right now is whether AFL footballers have any other responsibilities to the rest of society and whether they should be considered role models. Because we see a lot of players out there, Brendan Favola, Michael Hurley, Didac, Steve Johnson, all of whom have been suspended by their club for basically things they've done up to in their own personal life. Now, are they simply regular human beings who are being harshly treated in today's day? Simply young footballers who are, coming to terms with the fact they're getting a lot of money, a lot of fame, they're 18 years old and doing what most of us will go out on a Friday or Saturday night out there to do, drinking and things like that. Who should be role models in today's world? Do we think, when we think about kids these days, a lot of them look up to these AFL footballers. We're not simply, whilst in real life, we think ideally you'd have situations where policemen, parents, teachers, these are the sort of people kids should be looking up to. But I think most kids these days want to be like Judd or wants to be like Hurley or some of these younger players which are out there.
Trent Cotchin,
I think, it's probably pushing it a bit there.
Good bloke, though.
Yes.
He's a decent bloke.
Top bloke and an even better bloke.
That's true. I think my personal view is that at the end of the day, rightly or wrongly, they are considered and looked up to by most kids or most people in society as people who are responsible. When you're in a certain position of authority, for example, the Prime Minister or any other position, you have certain other responsibilities which are carried upon you. And as an AFL footballer, which you are being, reimbursed significantly well to do this, you have other responsibilities out there as well. So I think there's 4 main reasons why AFL players should basically have a certain set of standards imposed on them. First of all, the kids look up to them and they influence a lot of people. When someone out there speaks, for example, the AFL, as set upon a campaign to make sure homosexuals in society are not harshly treated, and they're working on towards that because it's something which influences a lot of average everyday Australians. These players carry a lot of influence, so it's fundamentally important that they actually go out there and make sure they are acting in a responsible manner. But the second thing is also in relation to their own clubs and their own ability. As a club, there's a club culture involved. And, Brendan Fowler's a good example of this with someone who's a very talented footballer, someone who's, kicked a lot of goals and can be a regular match winner. But the impact he has on the club culture, the team rules which are constantly broken, have a massive, significant, detrimental impact on both the playing group, but also, the coaching panel and other areas such as sponsors and other club areas. So I think in this particular situation, it's important that AFL footballers, whilst that yes they are, people like you and I who want to go out and want to have fun, at the same time they have certain responsibilities and they need to be professional in their approach. Now the opposing view to this is that at the end of the day, people or the average football fan simply wants to see the best players out there on the football field. They're paying for their services. They want the best players out there playing every single week, and that's why if they do something in their off-field life, that's up to them. It's up to the police or anyone else out there to take care of that. But in terms of football should just be in relation to your form, and that's the only thing that actually occurs. I think the AFL is a bit bigger than that simple view. So my view is that at the end of the day, yes, there are people investing in them. There's fans who are investing their time and energy and efforts into memberships. But at the same time, the AFL or sports people have a general broader obligation to society, and they basically need to take the responsibility and harden up a bit because, yes, when they go out, they are going to be targeted by other people. They're going to be people out there with mobile phone cameras who basically go out there and probably even try to wind them up. But we think in this particular situation, and that's where I think the clubs come into play, where they have to educate these 18-year-olds who are just coming into the system and getting to terms with the fact that they are suddenly becoming effectively like rock stars, where everyone wants to be out there, and they're going to have access to a lot of money, a lot of spare time as well, and these sorts of things. So I think they are role models, and that's a good or bad thing. That's a separate debate. But at the end of the day, they should have other responsibilities. What do you guys think about that?
Well, in terms of you talking about players just being selected on their merit rather than how their off-field antics affect the club's perception. Take Fev, for example. I think he's just been born 20 years too late. If he was born before that, then he would be probably looked up as one of the greats, along with Dunstall and all that. But with the what's it called?
On Fev, I just don't think he's a very smart human being.
Well, no, he's a lovable oaf though. So he's sort of like the bumbling village idiot type bloke. What's like one of the Three Stooges?
Oh yeah, Curly.
Yeah. But
was there a stooge called Dickhead? Does that fit Fev perfectly?
Politically correct. That was the term I was looking for.
There you go. Perfectly.
Yeah, everything is politically correct these days, and if you're not, then you're not going to get selected or that sort of thing. So, can you imagine Gary Ablett Senior in a football team these days?
No.
Exactly. So, we would have been robbed of one of the greats if he was born these days.
Right, yeah, well, fair enough too. Just going to jump to some ads and we'll be back after these messages.
bringing you nothing but the best sounds from R&B to independent, underground to mainstream, international to our very own homegrown. We've got the lowdown on the latest events, artists, interviews and reviews, freestyle and battle competitions with giveaways each week, featuring none other than Strictly Oz, bigger than hip-hop. Hip-hop's finest, Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, 90.7 on Sin. Hip-hop's finest.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, well, wicked.
Naruto.
So believe it!
Bleach.
Behold my Bankai.
Sailor Moon.
Moon Tiara Magic!
Pokemon.
Now, quick attack!
Just some of the epic anime featured on Sin's new show, Anime Ball Z.
Tune in Tuesdays at 9 a.m. for all your anime needs.
Character breakdowns, plot holes, trivia, and giveaways.
All for anime lovers of any level.
So join Bo and Criddle for Season 3 on Anime Ball Z.
Hey, I'm Joseph.
Hi, I'm Marita.
Tune in to Blind Insight every Monday from 3:30 to 4:30. Blind Insight rocks topics, rocks news, rocks music. Blind Insight on Sin.
Right, you're back on Bound for Glory. A lot of clubs these days are starting to take mature age players who add an instant effect to their side. Obviously, the most recent of these being James Magner, who we've previously covered today. Arguably Melbourne's best player in their debut last week. It seems that just about every club's starting to take a hard-bodied player who's had a few seasons in a state league, so they're more of an insurance policy. Obviously, the success of Michael Barlow and James Podsiadly have sparked an interest in the state leagues. I guess that shows the dedication's needed to get drafted. Look, obviously, with this becoming a more fashionable side of football, what does this do to the raw prospects like Majak Dor? Will they start to be looked over for rookie spots? The VFL's tried to counter this by making an academy squad made up of young players. At this stage, details are a little bit sketchy, so I presume it'll run sort of like what the AIS sort of does. Some of the notable players that have been listed in the squad are Willie Wheeler, Damo Moschetti, Jack Charleston, Jack Frost, and Kyle Hardigan. Do you guys reckon the academy will be beneficial for football?
Is that just for the really young players, the players that didn't get drafted, or is it for the mature ones as well, like Miles Sewell, for example?
Miles Sewell is not included. It's all young players at this stage. It's purely a youth-based thing.
I think it's because I think Kyle Hardigan is like 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like 23 and under or something. But on Jack Charleston, I went to high school with him. I'm a good mates with him, and see someone like that get overlooked when they've got obvious football talent and they would offer so much to a football side, but he's probably a couple of centimetres too short, which is probably why he didn't get picked up. But to see someone like that get put into a squad like this, which brings a lot of attention to younger players that might have missed out for whatever reason, I think it's a great initiative and something that will bring a lot more attention to players that have missed out for whatever reason, and they could get drafted off this, which is good.
Yeah, I mean the same thing applies with Willie Wheeler, a couple of centimetres too short.
Yeah.
He won the Murray Bushrangers Best and Fairest with Sean Atley in his draft year. Well, we didn't get drafted, but Atley did. And he's just been gunning it for Coburg, and I was really surprised he didn't get picked up, at least as a rookie, in last year's draft.
There are a lot of names that miss out. Like, I'm sure if you went over draft years from previous years and saw players that are still playing in the VFL, you'd be shocked at the list of players that hadn't been picked up or just missed out for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, for every person that's not that is picked and doesn't do well, there's a Michael Barlow that's overlooked year after year, and then he gets selected and then just goes and guns it. So
yeah.
Right, so mature age players, would you guys rather pick maybe one or two of those people a year, or would you rather pick a raw rookie prospect who can potentially change the club?
I.e. Magic Dog?
Yeah.
I think you need a mixture because with the injury list and the fast game of today, you've got a lot of injuries often happening in the season. So you need someone who can make an instant impact and has the body to play AFL football.
A lot of player turnover as well.
That's true. But at the same time, you do still want that project player, the one where you need 3 to 5 years to invest in and to get them into a great footballer.
I think most clubs do that, though. They sort of tend to recruit a mix of players, like, a couple of players that are ready to go. And then, in past years, some clubs have drafted project ruckmen who obviously aren't going to be ready to go first, round one after their draft year. But, that's why clubs have development officers, stuff like that. So these players get a chance in an AFL career.
Right, now I reckon we should have a look at the games that are on today and for the rest of the round.
Football.
Yes, football.
Yes. Love it.
So first we've got Essendon and Port Adelaide on at 1:45 at Etihad this afternoon.
Port.
Really?
Port.
You're a joke.
I hate Essendon so much. All of them.
They do have a good record against Essendon here.
Yeah.
Port did beat St Kilda last week. Not sure what that says about St Kilda more than it says about Port, but
so
I'm going with Port. Port, bold tip, Port.
I'm tempted to go Port, but
I'm jumping on the 440. It's in the multi.
No way. I'm going Bombers. The lack of Gray and Butcher is really going to hurt them, although I guess Trengove will stabilise their back line a little bit. I can see Hurley kicking 4 or 5 today.
Who's he playing on? Carlisle. Oh, Carlisle's back.
Yeah.
Carlisle's back. Hooker's out injured for Essendon. So I'm going with the Bombers as well. It'll be interesting to see if McVeigh will stay within the team because there's a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Sydney Fremantle.
Ooh, another tough one. I'm going to go with...
Where is it?
Sydney.
Sydney. Freo.
I like Ross Lyon. I think he's the right person and he'll get in.
For me, the Swans are nearly unbeatable at their home ground, whereas Fremantle kind of has the same thing at Subiaco, but they struggle to play interstate against quality sides.
Josh Mellington for Freo kicked 3 goals last week off a wing. So.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
They have no Mighty Mouse though, no Valentine. So.
I'm tempted to use a few swears. Can I use some swears, producer?
No.
Fuck Hayden Valentine. There we go. We got Melbourne versus West Coast over there. Is a Twilight Saturday game. Obviously something we've discussed previously in the show.
This is a very hard game to pick.
West Coast.
Yes.
West Coast. I hope Melbourne put up a fight though.
West Coast.
I hope they
West Coast and by a lot, and I hope that Melbourne ground into the dust.
Yes.
And who do you reckon's going to score more out of Kennedy and Melbourne?
Ooh,
Kennedy.
Wait, is Frawley playing? Frawley.
Yep, Frawley's named on him.
And your tip? Other Jordan?
Yep, I'm going West Coast as well with Kennedy to kick at least 6.
Yeah, that's...
Could be a smoky for the Coleman, or maybe not such a smoky. Maybe he's emerging as favourite behind Lance Budwood Franklin. Big game tonight at the MCG, 20-8. It starts Collingwood versus Richmond. That is a blockbuster, and there will be plenty of police in attendance. Your tips?
Pies, come on. Let's be honest.
I think we all got to go on the Pies and jump on the Pies.
It has to be the Pies.
I'm going for the Pies.
Yeah.
Well, not going.
I think they just ran into a pretty red hot Hawthorn last week.
Yeah.
And I think they'll pretty much easily account for a struggling Tigers outfit.
We are not struggling. We played a Premiership contender last week.
Yeah, of course. So we're all going for Collingwood at that one?
Yep.
Next,
I am tipping Collingwood. I'm going for Richmond.
Next one is the other game that's on tonight, which is Adelaide versus the Western Bulldogs over there in Adelaide. I don't know. I'm probably going to have to go with Adelaide on this one.
Yep, Adelaide as well.
Yeah.
Crowbots.
What is wrong with the Dogs?
Old.
Just not very good?
Yeah.
Just not very good.
Mitch Wallace got
I
dropped,
don't know
which
why
I
they
thought
dropped
was
Mitch
weird.
Wallace.
Yeah.
And they've got a new
Great
coach. It'll
gun
take some
football.
time to develop their game plan and, for the players to get used to
I
it.
think they're out of it for this year, but
Clay Smith's almost a top 10 player for them.
Yeah.
For one game.
Four goals, and he didn't win the Rising Star. It went to Clay Beams, which was quite weird because he didn't have the best of games.
No, I thought he was alright. I think
He was alright, but he didn't kick 4 goals on debut.
Alright, now what's going to be happening with Brian Lake? 'Cause he had an absolute spud game last week.
have they brought in Talia, have they? They have too.
No, that's for
that's the Adelaide one,
Yeah.
sorry. He's playing on Paul Pleasure, who I think
I don't
Paul
know.
Pleasure gives away a few centimetres to him.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's just not the Brian Lake of old that's lining up at fullback.
They should have traded him when they had the chance. Now they're sort of
Now
stuck
he
with
has,
him.
he has no currency now.
Yeah. He's no Brian Harris, that's for sure.
Of course, yeah. The name change really screwed him. The first game ever in Hobart for Premiership points, first game ever at Blundstone Arena, sorry, is North Melbourne versus the Greater Western Sydney Giants. It's the early game tomorrow on Sunday. I don't think you can tip against North here. And if you do, then you're an idiot. All of you.
Petrie to kick 50?
Yeah, he's playing on I think he's either the one with the beard, Tim Moore.
Yeah, the beard.
The beard.
And he's a local Tassie boy as well, so...
It'll be good to see how Falau goes. I mean, he didn't do too much in the opening game, but hopefully he can work his way into the.
He's playing on Scott
game.
Thompson, so I think at some point Thompson's probably going to get a fist to the head.
Oh, I think Freo would go to him. I know he's named against Thompson, but I think Fredo's a better matchup.
We know that where players are named in the Herald Sun thing doesn't necessarily have any correlation to where they line up on the day.
Or the age. Love you, Rowan.
Yeah. So we're all going with North Melbourne for that one.
Yeah.
Almost an unbackable favourite at $1.01. St Kilda versus the Gold Coast at Etihad tomorrow for the Twilight game.
I don't know about this. I mean, I'll pick St Kilda to be, conservative, but
St Kilda were pretty abysmal last week against
something
Port.
about the Gold Coast makes me want to pick them.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I like Aaron Hall. I do.
He's in my DT.
Yeah, there's a little spark in the side, and St Kilda look flat, boring, and just all around just shit.
Gold Coast at $11 is a pretty value bet.
Yeah. I would put them in the multi, ladies and gentlemen. If you're punting, throw them in the multi. And we have a Monday game, thanks to the lovely Easter weekend, that is a huge game.
Yeah,
that is a blockbuster.
Friday football.
Geelong versus Hawthorn, as we heard earlier from Mitch Duncan. Geelong really don't like playing against Hawthorn. Just don't like them as a football club.
How long has it been? 3 years since Hawthorn beat them? So the grand final, right?
Yeah, the grand final would have been the last time Hawthorn beat Geelong.
Yeah.
I remember Bartel kicked that point, and then Kelly Underwood commentated it 4 seconds after it happened.
How sweet is redemption?
I reckon
I hate her so much.
It'll be interesting to see with Scarlett out, and also I think Tom Gillies, who would have replaced him, both of them out. So we'll see how they deal with Buddy and some of the other.
I don't think they're going to be able to deal with Buddy. Taylor just destroys Riewoldt every time Geelong plays in Kilda.
Well, Roughhead got named as well, so
Has he really?
it'll be interesting to see if he plays. He's extended bench, so we don't know if he's going to play or not.
So obviously there's still 3 to be culled from either side. Well, culled is not named from either side. We haven't given our tips for this one, so tips for Geelong versus Hawthorn. Obviously, it's probably the hardest game this round outside of Sydney Fremantle to tip. So far away, lads.
Hawthorn.
No, I've changed my tip. I'm going to go the Cats.
I'm going to have to go with Hawthorn. They are unstoppable, and they have the best player in the league by a long way, lining up at centre half forward.
Well, the round's already started, so you can't change your tips on the actual thing. So bad luck.
3.
Oh my goodness! Oh, that'll be a great game to watch. So is it
will,
televised? Channel 7 at 3 p.m. for all your viewing needs,
Or Fox
etc.
Footy if you don't want ads, which would be nice.
Yeah, there's been a bit of an interesting situation with Channel 7 Fox Footy, with Channel 7 cutting away commentary in between ad breaks.
Goals, yeah. Which
just leaves Fox Footy with just nothing.
Yeah.
Seeing as Fox Footy is taking Channel 7's live feed, if you didn't know that, that's pretty much it. That's it really.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, apparently in Tasmania, which sort of gets to Southern Cross 10, which is the channel which telecasts the footy, they actually do talk in between the goals. So basically, Channel 7's cutting out the actual audio and giving it to Fox Footy. And there's been issues with quality coverage and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see.
I think for a billion-dollar industry, then something should be done about this. It's slightly important.
I think Channel 7's finally realising it was a stupid idea to ever sign that contract by giving Fox live access to all the games without ads.
Yeah.
I missed the Mega Wall as well. It was so useful.
I don't miss the Mega Wall.
Mega Wall.
Mega Wall gave me the shit so bad.
I don't know. I think Channel 10 should have gone harder for at least one game a week or something.
But then we would have had to listen to Stephen Quartermain.
Yes.
For another year.
And Tim Lane.
Oh, the days of domination are over. And then Geelong proceeded to put 11 straight on the Bulldogs, was it? That was great. That was nice of him.
Yes.
Tim Lane is a commentary genius. Not as bad as Dwayne Russell, though, for a hell of a...
Dwayne,
I don't care about defamation. If you're listening to this, I just hate you so much. Oh my God.
Just the commentary, not as a person.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all, of course, this is my opinion, and your commentary is just so bad. Bad. Like, it's appalling.
It was good for ABC, I thought.
It really is. It's just about going to be it. Sorry about that. It's just going to be it for this week. We will be back next week, hopefully, with...
a 2-hour show.
Yeah, a 2-hour show. So from everybody here at Bound for Glory, the producers, the presenters, and everybody involved.
Yes.
Terrific. Enjoy the football for the weekend,
Have a great
and we will
weekend
speak to you
and Easter
next
break.
week.
See ya.